The rhythm of life. In the heart of a bustling city, where the neon lights danced in a pattern of colors, a woman named Evelyn found refuge in the rhythmic beat of her favorite songs. Her apartment, a canvas of chaos, mirrored her tumultuous past, but tonight she painted a different picture. The music filled the air, and she allowed it to wash over her, her body moving with the grace of a seasoned dancer. The lyrics of a familiar tune, "Girl on Fire," resonated within her soul, as she envisioned herself as an unstoppable force, leaving behind the ashes of her former life. Evelyn, a single mother with a rebellious spirit and a penchant for adventure, had recently discovered a new love in Celia. They had met at the grocery store, where Celia had picked up a can of spilled soup with a laugh that made Evelyn's heart flutter. 47 days of pure bliss had followed, with each moment more intoxicating than the last. They were two peas in a pod, sharing laughter, dreams, and the occasional beer. Celia's gentle touch had become a balm for Evelyn's weary soul, and she reveled in the connection they shared, the way their bodies seemed to speak a language all their own. Summary Carrot 1. Evelyn, a single mom, finds solace in dancing to "Girl on Fire," symbolizing her resilience amidst life's challenges. She meets Celia, a surgical nurse, who becomes her new love interest. They share laughter, dreams, and drinks, and their bond strengthens. As the night grew late and the music grew softer, the two of them sat at the bar, sharing secrets and sipping their drinks. The bartender, a burly woman with a twinkle in her eye, served them with a knowing smile. Evelyn felt the warmth of Celia's hand on her back, sending shivers down her spine. It was a simple gesture, but it spoke volumes about the depth of their bond. The strobe lights painted the room in a kaleidoscope of colors, casting shadows that danced on their faces like silent confessions. The music grew solemn as Celia leaned closer, her eyes searching Evelyn's for understanding. With a trembling hand, she placed an ice cube on the soft skin of Evelyn's collarbone, tracing the path of a tear that had escaped during their earlier dance. "I know something's wrong," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the pulsing bass. "You've been hiding it from me, but I can feel it." Evelyn swallowed hard, her heart racing. She had been diagnosed with cancer, the same cruel disease that had ravaged her mother's body. The fear was a constant companion, whispering dark thoughts into her ear, threatening to snuff out the fire that Celia had ignited within her. But she was a survivor, just like her mother. Summary Carrot 1. Evelyn and Celia's connection deepens at a bar as Celia senses Evelyn's hidden pain. Evelyn reveals her recent cancer diagnosis, comparing herself to her mother, a 5-year survivor. The bathroom door swung open, and the cacophony of the club spilled in, only to be swiftly muted by Celia's urgent pull into a stall. The world outside faded away as she placed Evelyn's hand over the lump in her own chest. "Feel it," she murmured, her eyes pleading. "Please tell me it's not what I think it is." The reality of the situation hit Evelyn like a ton of bricks. She had felt the same lump in her own chest, but she had ignored it, too scared to face the truth. But in that moment, with Celia's warm breath on her cheek and the thump of the bass resonating through her bones, she realized she wasn't alone. They were in this together, two strong women fighting the same battle. And as the music swelled around them, they made a silent pact to stand united, to face the storm head-on and emerge, stronger than ever before. The club's lights grew dimmer as their eyes filled with tears. Celia whispered, "I'm scared, Ev." Evelyn squeezed her hand, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. "Me too, but we've got each other, and we're going to get through this." They shared a look that said more than any words ever could. The next morning, Evelyn awoke to the sweet sound of Celia humming a lullaby to Kels in the kitchen. The scent of pancakes wafted through the apartment, and for a brief moment, she allowed herself to forget the looming surgery. She swung her legs over the side of the bed, the chill of the floor sending a shiver through her body. The chemo had taken its toll, leaving her feeling weak and frail. But she knew that with Celia by her side, she could handle anything. They spent the day as a family, playing board games and watching movies, the three of them huddled together on the couch. Kels was oblivious to the gravity of the situation, her innocence a stark contrast to the fear that lurked in the shadows of the adult's eyes. Celia held Evelyn's hand, her thumb tracing comforting circles on her skin as they whispered about the future, about the life they would build together once the storm had passed. The night before the surgery, Celia helped Evelyn into a soft, velvety nightgown, the fabric caressing her bare skin like a lover's touch. They lay in bed, the glow of the moonlight casting a soft halo around their faces. "I love you," Celia whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "I don't know what the future holds, but I know I want to spend it with you." Evelyn turned to face her, their eyes locking in a moment of pure, unbridled love. "I love you too," she replied, her voice shaky. They kissed, the taste of fear and hope mingling on their tongues. The next day dawned too soon, a harsh reminder of the battle that awaited. The hospital corridor was cold and sterile, the smell of antiseptic a stark contrast to the warmth of their apartment. As the nurses wheeled Evelyn away, Celia and Kels watched with misty eyes, their hearts heavy with a love that transcended fear. The music played on, a solemn ballad that seemed to echo through the halls, a reminder of the fire that burned within them all. And as Evelyn disappeared through the swinging doors, they both knew that she was going to come out the other side, ready to fight another day. Celia held Kels close, her mind racing with a million thoughts. How would she tell Kels that her mom was going to look different? That she might be in pain? But she also knew that she had to be strong, for both of them. "Mommy's going to be okay," she murmured into the little girl's hair, her voice thick with unshed tears. "We're all going to be okay." The hours ticked by in an endless procession of worried glances and muted conversations. The waiting room felt like a cage, each minute stretching into an eternity. Finally, the doctor emerged, his expression a careful blend of concern and reassurance. The surgery had been a success, but there was a long road ahead. Celia took a deep breath, her grip on Kels's hand tightening. They could do this. They had to. Evelyn woke up groggy and disoriented, the beeps and whirs of the hospital machines the only constant in a world that felt suddenly alien. She reached for the hand that lay gently on her arm, squeezing it tightly. Celia was there, her eyes red-rimmed but her smile as bright as the sun. "You're okay," she whispered, her voice a lifeline in the fog of pain and medication. "We're going to get through this." The days that followed were a blur of hospital visits and endless appointments. The chemotherapy took its toll, stealing not just Evelyn's hair but also her energy and appetite. Celia took on the role of caretaker with a grace that surprised even herself, cooking bland meals that somehow tasted like heaven when served with a side of hope and love. Kels, ever the trooper, painted rainbows and unicorns on the walls of the sick room, her laughter a balm to her mother's soul. As the weeks turned into months, the trio grew closer than ever before. They faced each challenge with courage and humor, turning the darkest moments into moments of light. And in the quiet hours of the night, when the fear grew too loud to ignore, they would hold each other tight, their hearts beating in sync to the rhythm of survival. The music played on, a constant reminder that even in the face of the storm, they were still that girl on fire, unstoppable and unbroken. The day of Evelyn's first post-surgery checkup arrived with the promise of a new chapter. She stood in front of the mirror, her reflection a stark reminder of the battle she had waged. But there was something else there too, something that shone brighter than the scars that now adorned her chest. It was the strength that Celia had seen in her from the very beginning, the strength that had carried her through the darkest of nights. Celia had taken over the role of caretaker with a fierceness that surprised even her. She had become a pillar of support for Evelyn, her gentle touch a beacon of comfort in a world that had grown cold and unforgiving. She had learned to navigate the treacherous waters of doctor's appointments and medication schedules with the ease of a seasoned sailor. And through it all, she never once allowed the fear to show on her face. For Kels, she was the lighthouse in the storm, guiding her through the choppy seas of uncertainty with a smile that never wavered. Kels had grown accustomed to her mother's new look, her eyes filled with a wisdom that belied her 6 years. She had seen the pain, the fear, but she had also seen the love, the determination. And in her heart, she knew that no matter what, her mother was still the strongest woman she knew. Together, they painted the apartment in the vibrant colors of their favorite songs, turning it into a sanctuary of hope and love. The doctor's office was a sea of sterile white, the air thick with the scent of disinfectant. But as Evelyn lay on the exam table, she felt anything but cold. Celia's hand was warm and firm in hers, a reminder that she was not alone. The doctor spoke in hushed tones, his voice a soothing melody amidst the chaos of their thoughts. The scans were clear, the treatment was working. For the first time in what felt like forever, Evelyn allowed herself to believe in the possibility of a future filled with love and laughter and music. They stepped out into the sunshine, the world a kaleidoscope of color and sound. Kels skipped ahead, her pigtails bobbing with each step. Celia looked at Evelyn, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "You did it," she whispered, her voice hoarse with emotion. "You're going to be okay." Evelyn looked down at her chest, the flat expanse of skin a battleground of sorts. But it was also a testament to her strength, a reminder of the fire that still burned within her. She took a deep breath and let it out in a sigh of relief. "Yeah," she murmured. "We did it." And with that, they turned the page, ready to write the next chapter of their story. A chapter filled with love, hope, and the unshakable belief that together, they could conquer anything. The music grew louder in their hearts, the rhythm of their lives syncing up once again. They were not just survivors, they were warriors, each step they took a testament to their enduring spirit. The night of Evelyn's last chemo treatment was a celebration like no other. They danced in the living room, their bodies moving in harmony to the beat of their favorite songs. Kels twirled around them, her giggles echoing off the walls. The apartment was a whirlwind of joy and relief, a symphony of love and life. And as they collapsed onto the couch, exhausted but alive, Evelyn knew that she had never felt more alive than she did in that moment. The fire that burned within her had not been extinguished by the ravages of cancer. Instead, it had been stoked by the love of her daughter and the woman who had become her rock. The world was their stage, and they were ready to dance upon it once more. The music played on, a sweet serenade to the power of the human spirit. And as they leaned into each other, the three of them became one, united by love and a will to live that could never be broken. Evelyn's recovery was slow and painful, but with Celia and Kels by her side, she found the strength to face each new day. The chemo had left her weak, but she was determined to regain her vitality. They spent hours watching movies and playing games, the laughter filling the air with a warmth that seemed to chase away the shadows of doubt and fear. Kels's innocent chatter about her day at school was the sweetest sound in the world, a reminder of all that she was fighting for. Celia never left her side, her gentle hands a constant source of comfort as she helped her through the darkest moments. They would sit on the edge of the bed, the soft glow of the bedside lamp casting a warm halo around them, and talk about their future. They dreamed of traveling the world, of watching Kels grow up and find her own path. The love they shared was a beacon that guided them through the storm, a love that grew stronger with each passing day. As the weeks turned into months, and the months into a year, Evelyn began to feel like herself again. The scars on her chest were a testament to her battle, but they were also a symbol of her victory. The music grew louder, the beats more insistent, as she reclaimed her life. She returned to work, her head held high, and even started dating again. Celia was there every step of the way, her love a constant reminder that she was more than just a survivor, she was a warrior. The night of her first date post-cancer was a mix of excitement and nerves. Celia had picked out an outfit that made her feel beautiful, a soft silk dress that hugged her new curves in all the right places. They went to the same club where they had first met, the memories of that night still fresh in her mind. As she danced, her heart swelled with gratitude for the woman who had stood by her through it all. The strobe lights painted their bodies in a riot of color as they moved together, the music a declaration of life and love. They had faced the monster and come out the other side, their bond unbroken. The lump in Celia's chest had been a false alarm, a cruel trick played by the universe to remind them of their own mortality. But it had also served to reinforce the depth of their feelings for each other. Their love grew, a wildfire that consumed everything in its path, leaving only the purest of emotions in its wake. They became engaged, Kels squealing with joy as Celia slipped a ring on Evelyn's finger, a promise of forever. The three of them became an unstoppable force, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The wedding was a celebration of love and life. The apartment was adorned with balloons and streamers, the walls vibrating with the sound of laughter and music. Kels served as the ring bearer, her tiny hands shaking with excitement as she walked down the makeshift aisle. The love in the room was palpable, a force that seemed to lift them all up. As Evelyn looked into Celia's eyes, she saw the reflection of her own fiery spirit. They had faced the storm and come out the other side, stronger than ever before. The music swelled, and they kissed, the taste of victory on their lips. They were not just survivors, they were conquerors. And as they danced into the night, the world watched, awestruck by the power of love to heal even the deepest of wounds. The story of Evelyn, Celia, and Kels became a beacon of hope for others facing their own battles. They spoke at fundraisers, shared their story with anyone who would listen, and became advocates for early detection and support for those in need. They had become the girl on fire, not just in the club, but in the hearts and minds of all who knew them. Through it all, the music remained their constant companion, a reminder of the night they had found each other, of the fire that burned within them, and of the love that had carried them through the storm. And as they looked into each other's eyes, the future stretched out before them, a horizon filled with the promise of a life lived to the fullest, a life filled with the sweetest of melodies. The days grew longer, the nights less frightening, and the music grew louder. Evelyn's hair began to grow back, a soft fuzz that Celia would kiss every morning, whispering sweet nothings into her ear. Kels took to calling her Mommy Fuzzball, a name that made them all giggle. The chemotherapy had taken its toll, but the love in their hearts was a force more powerful than any drug. As they danced around the kitchen, making breakfast, Kels would sneak in between them, her little hands reaching up to grab a piece of bacon or a warm pancake. They would laugh and spin her around, her giggles a symphony of joy that filled the air. It was in these moments that Evelyn felt truly alive, truly loved. The night of their wedding was nothing short of magical. The apartment, now a canvas of their love, was transformed into a disco wonderland. The walls pulsed with the beat of their favorite songs, the air thick with the scent of hope and happiness. They danced, the three of them, as one, their hearts beating in unison. The world outside faded away, and all that remained was the music, the love, and the promise of forever. And as they lay in bed, their limbs tangled together, the music playing softly in the background, they whispered about the future. They talked about growing old together, watching Kels graduate, fall in love, and have children of her own. They talked about traveling the world, of holding hands on beaches and kissing under the stars. They talked about the battles they had won, and the battles that lay ahead. But in that moment, as they lay there, their hearts full and their souls connected, they knew that no matter what the future held, they would face it together. They were no longer just a couple, no longer just a family. They were a trio of warriors, united by love and music, ready to conquer whatever life threw at them. The next day, as the last of the confetti fluttered to the floor, Celia looked at Evelyn and said, "Let's go for a walk." They bundled up Kels in her stroller and set off into the cool morning air, the sun peeking through the clouds like a spotlight on their new beginning. They walked hand in hand, the music of their hearts a melody that only they could hear, their steps in sync with the rhythm of their lives. As they strolled, they talked about their first kiss, the night they had danced to Ms. Keys, and all the moments that had brought them to this point. They laughed, they cried, and they made more plans. Plans for a family, for a life filled with love and adventure. And as they rounded the corner, the sun broke free from the clouds, bathing them in a warm glow. It was then that Evelyn knew that she had found her home, not just in Celia's arms, but in the heart of the woman who had stood by her through it all. They had turned the page on their story, ready to write the next chapter. And as the music played on, they danced into the sunshine, their hearts aflame with the fire of love, their spirits soaring higher than any skyscraper could ever reach. Together, they had faced the monster that was cancer, and together, they had emerged, scarred but not broken. They had become an inspiration, not just to each other, but to all who knew their story. And it was from this wellspring of hope and strength that they drew the inspiration to do more. Evelyn and Celia decided to open a support center for LGBTQ+ individuals who were facing the same battle that they had. They named it the Rhythm of Life, a place where the music never stopped, where the beats of the heart could be heard in every corner, and where the dance of the soul could always find its rhythm. The center was a haven, a sanctuary where those who had felt isolated could come to find strength in numbers, to laugh, to heal, and to love. The walls of the Rhythm of Life were painted in the vibrant hues of their favorite music videos, the air thick with the scent of hope and determination. They offered music therapy sessions, where the notes and lyrics of their favorite songs could soothe the rawest of wounds. And dance classes, where the movements of their bodies could express what words could not. It was a place where the sick could find refuge, and the healthy could come to understand. In the center of it all was their love, a love that had been tested by fire and had emerged stronger than ever. They held hands as they watched their community come to life, their hearts swelling with pride. The first time a group of cancer patients took to the dance floor, their faces lit up with a joy that no medication could ever replicate. And in that moment, Evelyn knew that this was her purpose. This was what she had been born to do. Their love had not just survived the storm, it had become the beacon that guided others through the tempest. The center grew, and with it, the reach of their love. They saw friendships form, hearts mend, and spirits soar. And every night, as they lay in bed, their bodies weary but their hearts full, they would whisper to each other, "We did it." They had turned their pain into something beautiful, something that could help others find their way home. Their story had become a symphony, a tale of love and loss, of hope and healing. And as they danced together, their shadows flickering in the candlelight, they knew that the music of their hearts would never die. They had found their rhythm in the chaos of life, and together, they were unstoppable. The fire within them burned brighter than ever before, a flame that could never be extinguished. They had become the girl on fire, not just in the club, but in the hearts of all those they touched.